I'm not an art guy, so I don't look, it's a painting. Like the Mona Lisa don't do that for me, man. First of all, it's a dude, so it's a dude. I mean, what are we talking about? Am I wrong?
No, you talking about the Mona Lisa?
Is the Mona Lisa and it a dude?
No.
The Mona Lisa is a dude. John, am I tripping? I'm tripping. Yes. No, man.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench. Of course, I'm DeMarcus. As you can see, my partner in crime, he's not here with me, but you also can see too, as you're looking through your screen, I got a special guest with me. His name is Marlon Minifee. Now, Mr. Marlon, he is the founder and owner of Fourth Quarter Sports Group. So, Marlon, introduce yourself to the people, man. Let them know who you are.
Marlon Minifee, founder of Fourth Quarter Sports Group and Entertainment.
Okay. So what I want to do today, Marlon, is, as you saw the topics that I sent you, man, I want to kind of go through, an array of topics, man, just letting people know what you do at your company, players you've dealt with, the people you dealt with, just your journey through this, sports agency, atmosphere. All right. So let's just start with introduction, man. What is fourth quarter, or as you have it, 4Q Sports Group? What is that? So people know.
Man, just me in my grind, long time being a pro athlete and working with agents. I just wanted to be a different type of agency that really offered a lot for the players, looked out for them, make sure they were in good situations on and off the court, and just where players can build a future, with their name, their likeness, and their talents to create a monetary wealth for them for their future. Okay.
So let's talk about a little bit. How long have you had your company?
5 years.
5 years?
Right before COVID.
Okay. So now I know you told me before, when I first met you, you're in Texas. So how long have you been doing your company in Texas? Have you started it there, or did you start it somewhere else and kind of moved to Texas?
I was born and raised in Chicago, but I've been in Texas after I retired as a player. I've been in San Antonio for the last maybe 12 years. So it's home now, and that's why we branded our company down here.
Okay. So I know you just mentioned, like, say you play professional ball. How long were you doing how long was your career?
About 10 years.
10 years? Okay.
Here in the States and international, and it's a grind, man. So that's one thing I want the guys to know is it's glamorous and you get a lot at the end of the day, but it's a lot of work that you got to put in to get to that level.
Absolutely. Kind of like what you was talking about, when we did our pro combine in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So, letting guys know that, everybody might have an aspiration to do this, but the amount of work and the grind that it takes every single day to be able to be a part of this type of career, it takes a lot of work. So, all right. So let's talk about, kind of the, players you represent. Do you represent men and women, or are you kind of more focusing on the men inside?
Both. Okay. Men and women, NBA agent, WNBA agent, and FIBA agent.
Okay. So now I know you mentioned kind of early in this conversation, you talked about, you wanted to create an atmosphere for people, that's trying to be a professional, athlete. So did you kind of come up with the idea as you was playing? Like, okay, I think I could be good at being a sports agent, or like what kind of draws you to that angle?
For me, I think it was just experience. After I finished playing, I worked with a lot of athletes, which were still friends, and then people that grew up that we just had great connections, and helping them. I owned a pro basketball team, and I kind of learned that way as well. There's an opportunity for guys to come in, develop, give them a platform to get to the next level to further their career, and then from there, I kind of branched off and became an agent and figured that was something I wanted to do as a career, to kind of still be involved with the game and give back to the youth and players that aspire to do some of the things I aspired to do as a kid. Okay.
All right. So let me ask you this, because I've seen online and, of course, in social media, I've seen, some people say, their title when it comes to being a sports agent, they might not even call themselves a sports agent. So let me ask you this. Do you call yourself a sports agent, or do you call yourself something else when it comes to, who you are when you represent a client?
I don't really give myself a title, because I don't never like to give myself a title. I don't like to limit myself. We like to do everything from, representation to consulting them with helping them with good decisions. A lot of guys get to that point and just don't have good people that but really hold them accountable and give them sound decisions on things that they should do. Then also the branding and the marketing, which is a huge component of the pro athlete as well. So, and then after post-career, you know, what are you going to do when you're done playing? You know, you can only play for so long, no matter how good you are, your body just wears down. And there's so many great players in the world now. It's real cutthroat and competitive. So you got to always kind of be on your grind and be ready.
Absolutely. So I'm glad you bring up, like you said, helping with the, you know, communicating, consulting, imaging. So let's talk about you know, yourself. And when you're looking to represent a player, like what do you look for in that player to say, you know what, that's a player that I want to represent?
Mainly it's just attitude, work ethic, and just being coachable. You know, at that level, everyone's good. You know, everyone can really play. And it's just having the right kids with the right mentality that really want to work and be hungry to get to that level. I mean, I could say they want to be a pro athlete, but who's going to put those extra, you know, 10 sideline 17s at the end of the workout? Who's going to make an extra 100 free throws before they leave the gym that day? Like, who's going to put that extra time in the weight room or watching film? You know, that's what separates from great players and good players.
Gotcha. Yeah, because like I say, like we talked about at the combine, you know, it don't just don't stop now. You got to keep it going. So even if you didn't, you know, gain opportunity now, do you quit or do you keep going? Because, you know, like you say, so many players across the globe that are all trying to get that one job. So how are you going to stand yourself out from, you know, from the rest of the players, everybody get a chance to see?
Right.
So when you're talking about representation, how important is that for a player? Because I know we've seen, you know, with Lamar Jackson, you know, with his negotiating of his contract, he did without representation, but 99% of people have representation when it comes to, you know, contract negotiations, when it comes to even getting an opportunity to play on a professional level. Do you think it's, you know, very important for a player to have that, or do you think it can be done without it?
I mean, it can be done without it, but it just depends on what level. If you're a superstar, even in the NBA level, you don't really need representation because you know where you fall in the draft or what your extension is determines how much money you make. But for guys that are entry-level guys or girls that are trying to go overseas or get started on a lower level, whether it's, you know, the G League or TBL or NBA or places like that, they definitely need representation.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. So now, what kind of advice would you give to the player that's looking for an agent? Like, and the reason why I say this, like, what kind of recommendations when it comes to, you know, work ethic, how to carry themselves, communication, their attitude? What would you say to a player that's like, hey, I truly believe and know that I'm going to be able to play that next level, but now I need to start looking out for an agent? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, you have to be humble, yet cocky on the court. You have to be confident. You have to work hard. You have to have a great attitude. Just like with the combine we were involved with in Atlanta, you know, Steve was sitting there at the door, you know, and one thing, you're at a combine, you're at a tryout, first thing you do is go and introduce yourself to everyone and say, thanks for having me out. Appreciate the opportunity. Look them in the face, shake their hand, tell them who you are so they can associate that player with that person. You know, little things like that. Set yourself aside from other people at these workouts. Just being coachable, outworking everybody, being the first in every sprint, you know. When they ask for someone that wants to demonstrate, being the first to
be the first one to step up.
Yeah, like, you know, those are the things that set people aside. So those things help people and just overall character, you know, being good people, you know what I'm saying? Being a good teammate, working hard, listening. So those are the things that kind of come together to make a component of a great player. Not just your actual skill when it gets to that level.
Absolutely. Because like you said, when you're in that type of atmosphere, man, there's so many skilled players. But are you doing, like I said, the other little intangibles that make you more marketable, that make you more trustworthy, that make you more of a intricate piece that can be added to this, you know, this club or this team that you're going to be a part of? So how important is like off the floor behavior, you know, when it comes to the people that you represent?
Man, with me, it's huge, man. If you're a problem off the court, I don't care how good you are. I won't work with you.
Gotcha.
I need the headache. You know, you want good people that really know what their worth is and want to put their time in the court, not off the court. Off the court is a time when they should be enjoying themselves with their family, and, you know, making the right decisions. So,
yeah, absolutely. And then what about availability? And what I mean by availability is like being on time for workouts, being on time for, you know, any meetings that you have set up, how important that is for you to have a player that understands that.
Yeah, to me, that just goes, you know, hand in hand with it. Where, you know, as an athlete, you're taught, you know, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
At 1:00, you need to be ready,
Yeah.
12:30. You want to be the first one. Plus, you want to be beating the door down. You want them to see you here to work.
Yeah.
You want to be the first one in the gym and the last one to leave.
Yeah.
Same thing off the court. You got to be held accountable for those things because that's what really matters. You're not going to get a lot of second opportunities. If you're late or if you're there on time and everyone else is there 30 minutes early, they see that. That's noted.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was huge, especially like when we was doing the combine, when you actually had, somebody that the relationship that you develop across the globe, be on the phone. And so the players can hear like, hey, man, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm not going to deal with. So I think, like you just said, that's important to be available at the same time, be accountable, so that they don't have to worry about you coming over here and doing the wrong things.
Right.
Now, if you would bear with the fans that everybody's watching, let them know how many players are you currently dealing with right now? You don't have to get into specifics of names and all that, but how many players would you say right now you represent?
Man, I have 7 guys and 5 girls.
Okay.
And they play international through the international and the G League system. And then we also have some people that are part of the Harlem Globetrotter system as well. Okay,
nice. All right, so let's dive a little bit more into your overseas relationships that you've created. So how many teams or I know sometimes overseas they call them clubs too. Right. So how many teams or / clubs would you say that you work with on a kind of like day-to-day basis or just on a regular?
Man, I know in the last 2 years we sent players to over 30 different countries.
Okay.
But day-to-day relationships, I mean, all day through WhatsApp and Messenger, man, is known. So that's the main form of communication with those guys internationally and girls internationally as well. So, I mean, we probably work with over 50 teams.
Nice.
Level.
Yeah, because I know you was telling me, I believe you were saying you had, of course, Mexico, Canada. You had, I think you said some teams in Japan.
Yeah, Japan. I mean, China.
Okay.
Bosnia, France, Greece.
Okay.
Israel, Turkey. The guy we spoke to at the camp was from the Middle East.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much everywhere. Australia, South America.
Yeah. And that's huge, like you said, because that opens the door for you to give a lot of players opportunity, but also lets players know that, hey man, like the place I'm sending you is serious. So you got to be on your grind, like I said, be on your game, and know that when you get over there, you got to do everything you can stay over there. Because like I tell people sometimes, you can get to a place, but the hard part is being able to stay in that place.
Oh yeah,
that's the true grind, because it's a revolving door for a lot of those countries, especially when they talking about bringing an American over to play in their, on their team or their club.
Yeah, they're bringing you there to be productive. Definitely. Yeah. Not you come home quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, I tell any young person or anybody that I know that's aspiring, I said to be a professional player. I said, look, when I was in England, I didn't watch guys get a phone call or be in practice and be sent home for the smallest things. But like I say, on that level, they ain't got time. It's about winning, but also too about being professional. And they don't have time to deal with people that's not going to be professional. So let's talk about passports. Cause I know you mentioned that when we was at the combine. How important is passports? Because I notice a lot of guys that play not even just basketball, but just play sports in general don't have passports.
Right. People always say, I want to play overseas. How you going to play overseas if you can't go overseas?
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to be able to get there now. Like it ain't no, hey, you're on the team, we'll see you in a couple weeks. No, you're on the team, you got to get on that plane this weekend.
I've gotten calls for guys at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They have to be on a plane by noon.
Dang,
if they want that job, you don't have to. But if you want that job, you're going to have to take it. If not, I got 5 other guys waiting for that job.
Yeah, that we know right now would drop everything they're doing to get on that plane.
Oh, yeah. So you got to have a bag packed ready to go if that's that life you want to live.
Yeah, true. Now, when it comes to, like I say, traveling, getting on that plane to go abroad to all these different places, players' job security. Have you seen in the time that you've had your company, have you seen some players have, issues with that, or most of your players, being able to keep their jobs for not forever, but just for a good amount of time?
Yeah, for the majority, I mean, a lot of it is based on relationships. You have a good relationship with a team, and the type of players you have realistically, what they want, what they need. And if you're giving them that type of player that's going to bring what they want, you won't have a problem, And I don't really deal with guys that have a lot of problems off the court. So I've never really had a situation with guys being a problem off the court, getting sit home for disciplinary reasons. But I think it's just make sure you communicate with the teams and finding out exactly what they want. They want to score. Gotcha. They want a defender. They want a guy that's an all-around player. They want a guy that rebounds and plays defense. You know, protects the rim. It's just a matter of, finding out what they want and giving them what they want.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you said that, because you just kind of answered my next question was, have you ever dealt with any guys, or girls that have had difficulties that you like, hey man, I can't represent this guy. Could you say any moments that kind of happened, or you saw before was they were going to be a problem?
I've had a lot of great players, that I had opportunities to work with that I chose not to, just because I felt, morally we wouldn't work well together. For me, like I said, I want to deal with guys and girls that really want to use this as a platform to build a future, not tear
it down. Absolutely. Have you noticed in your time of being on this side, like I call it, because like I said, coaching that's on one side, being a player that's one side, and of course the sports agency side, have you noticed or dealt with any players that have been like kind of over demanding when it comes to what you're able to gain access for them for, when it comes to being on a team?
No.
Okay.
Right now, I haven't.
Okay.
I've been blessed, I guess.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Gotcha. So talk to me about travel, Marlon. Do you travel abroad much, or do you kind of stay in the States and kind of operate your business here?
The majority of the time in the States, but I do have to get on the plane and get out of the country sometimes. And, I like to always kind of go and follow up with most of my clients wherever they play, whether it's here, or Europe, or South America, Mexico, or Canada, wherever they are. My client always attend at least one of their games throughout the year just to show them that support. It's kind of difficult, you being overseas. Yeah. You know how it is being in the country, far away from your home. Not eating the same food, not watching the same stuff on TV, it's just. But I will say the food abroad it is good, even though it's not like how it is here. It is very good, especially when it comes to the taste and all that. It's just not saturated with a lot of stuff that we have over here. True. It's very clean.
Mm-hmm. So you get you a lot of clean eating. So like I said, my mom, when I came back, she was like, man, DeMarcus, like you lost some weight. I'm like, nah, mom, I'm still same weight. It just, I don't, just didn't carry a lot of fat from the food. So that's, I said a lot of times you kind of look like something going on, but you actually, that's the healthy weight you're supposed to be. So, or the healthy look you're supposed to have. So let's talk about a little bit about when it comes to being an agent. What's the best part of your job, you would say?
I think just seeing guys and girls achieve their goals. Basketball is a great tool to make money and change a lot of lives of other people that look up to you, whether they're players or kids or coaches or, as athletes, you touch a lot of people's lives. Yeah. So just using that as a platform to better the sport and continue to give people opportunity, to give back. Okay.
Yeah. Because I think, whenever you can meet that player, whether male or female, and then, like you say, see them have that chance to play, and now they're going to be making an income that can change their whole entire family lives. And that's always, like you said, that's what you do it for. Just like with me, I'm coaching a player and he say, hey, I got my scholarship offer. Now I'm going to play college ball. That's what you want to hear. You want to see that, hey, man, you got a chance to now take that step forward to change your future. And then, of course, your immediate family future. And then, anybody else that is attached to you that's, in need of help, that you could be able to help them. Right. So let's segue to, I know we talked about you, we don't want to name no names, but would you say right now, currently in your collection of clients that you have, are you working with anybody that people might know or ever heard of?
Well, definitely. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. As far as on the court to marketing, we do a lot. So yeah, we definitely do have some recognizable names, and we're gonna have a lot more. We got some guys in the pipeline that we're really working with there, so it's gonna be exciting.
Gotcha. Because you're still a very young company, if that's what you would say. So you definitely got a bright future. And like I said, just being able to work with you for the little bit that I have with the combine, I think, like I say, you definitely, and I think everybody that was in there that weekend, you could definitely see that we're all, want the same goals or have the same goals for, people that we're going to deal with. And then like creating those relationships is important. And the networking that we're going to be able to do from the relationships that we create, I think is going to be big, especially for the future coming up. Oh yeah. So let's talk about player development. How important it is for you, for the players you deal with to get a lot of that, or do you stress like, hey, these are the times that you need to be in the gym, or is that kind of where you like, hey, I'll let them kind of figure that out on their own? But how important is player development to you?
For me, it's extremely important. I don't think it's something at this level that you should have to try to monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Guys at this level should want to work out every day and get better. Most of the guys on the pro level have trainers that they work with. Some 2 days, some once a day. Just, I think you know what you need to improve on and where you need to go. And me and my clients are very open on that as far as my opinion and their opinion. And we sit down and talk about before season what goals they want to have going into the season, at the end of the season, postseason. Communicative when we sit there and talk about what they did achieve, what they didn't achieve, what they can do in the off season to be more productive next year. Everything from, conditioning to skill sets to free throw percentage, shooting percentages. I mean, everything. So that way our guys have goals and girls have goals, and they can kind of achieve those and see the progress throughout the day.
Okay. All right. So next thing I want to talk about. So let's let the people know. I know you did mention to me off camera before we got started that you got you some apparel coming out. So let's talk to the people about what you're doing with your apparel.
Oh man, for me, it was just something I started. I think it was during COVID. I had a couple clients that, and on the real, it's like, man, I'm tired of paying for workout clothes, and I'm tired of paying for this and that. So
expensive, man. It's an expensive, thing you gotta have.
So, man, a while back during COVID, I had a lot of sports teams that I worked with before that, we did apparel for, as far as uniforms and travel suits and stuff like that. And then the name of our company was Straight Buckets.
Straight Buckets, okay.
Yeah, STR8 Buckets. And then after that, we kind of branded that. And then from there, people were like, man, we want that gear, make that. And then it kind of went into a company that I made for my clients to kind of have some ownership in. We give our guys areas where they can use it as being brand ambassadors. They'll have workout gear. We do logos. We do their own branding. So they all have their own lines to create money as well on the marketing side with that. And we just use it as an opportunity to help our guys, and it's some pretty cool athletic wear. And if you're in the hoop and things like that, it's great. And we use Straight Buckets as one of our companies that does NILs for college athletes as well. So we've signed guys and girls to NIL deals with our company in which they get to brand themselves throughout the collegiate career. Yeah,
which I know we've had on previous episode with my partner and other people that's been on my podcast. We've had conversations about the NIL deals, and I've always, think that it's been a great thing for collegiate players to be able to have, the ability to market themselves, make money for their likeness, and be able to say, okay, I know I'm planning to play the professional level, but being a college student or being a player that don't have all the resources to be able to now have the opportunity to have those brand deals and everything, to be able to supply the ability to now, take care of myself first, but then also take care of my family. That's huge. So I know, working in your field, you deal with a lot of people that have the opportunities. Now that you're able to present, and fulfill that need too as well, I know that brings a lot of business towards your way for sure.
I wish we could have got that when I was in college.
Who you telling?
Burgers, some fries.
Listen, especially all the gear, because people always tell me all the time, DeMarcus, you got all the gear, man. Every time I see you got everything. I'm like, man, I wish somebody would sponsor me, because I know I got all the Nike gear you could think of. I got it. So, but I wish definitely in high school and college that definitely was an offer. But it's always. It's still great to see, man, even though it wasn't my time. It's just great. I'm glad to see that it is a part of the times we live in today. So that's always a plus as an athlete. So last thing, I got two topics I want to go over with you, but I got one more thing. Talk to people about, who, if they're inspiring to be, what you are. How do you get here? How do you get there? What kind of advice could you give to a player, or not player, a player that's, in his career, or just somebody that say, what, I never really played, the sport. I never played professional, but I have a drive to want to represent people. What kind of advice would you give them?
Main thing is about connections and relationships. You have to have good relationships in the field. And you have to have a great personality. You have to be outspoken. You have to be able to talk to people and be credible. Things like that. And just study the game, know the game. As far as being an NBA agent, you have to take a test for the NBA, which is pretty tough, but you have to be prepared for that. Same thing with FIBA. You have and take a test and pass a test. So a lot of it's just educational and just being aware on what it is, but start building your context now. If this is something you want to do for a profession, whether it's players, coaches, internationally, domestic, whatever, just start building that brand of Rolodex of those people you want to be able to have good connections with.
Okay. Perfect, man. All right. So here's my bonus topics I want to go over with you. So let's talk GOAT talk for a second. Because you know the conversation that's been hovering around forever has always been MJ, LeBron. You know, some people say MJ, some people say LeBron. So recently, Rich Paul, you know, he spoke kind of on the debate, and I kind of want to see what your opinion about the same topic. So he basically said that LeBron has faced, you know, more scrutiny than Michael ever did. He also said that LeBron was the first player to ever play in a 24/7, 365, news cycle. And then he also said, you know, LeBron has been compared to MJ, but MJ has never been compared to anyone else. So talk to me a little. What do you think about that? How do you feel? You know, do you think that's kind of right, or what would you say on that topic?
In some aspects, I mean, LeBron is under a lot of scrutiny.
Yeah.
But I think that just kind of comes with it. You're a great player. I mean, you're going to get some scrutiny.
Yeah.
I got a lot of scrutiny. I grew up in Chicago, you know, on the south side. So, I mean, I was there. I grew up during the Jordan era. I worked out with MJ before. I trained in that era. And, I mean, he got it too, you know. That's not part of, if you're the greatest or one of the greatest, you're going to have that target on your back. So, you know, part of the game.
Yeah.
LeBron's a great player. I don't think personally he's a GOAT. I think there's a couple of things that separates the two of them. One, defensively, MJ was a beast defensively. You know, first team All NBA almost every year, and then just that killer mentality. You know, at the end of the game, you know, and you want a leader, you want a guy that's gonna get it done himself, one way or another. LeBron's a great player. I think they're two different type of players. I think a lot of people compare the two of them where, you know, LeBron's a big guard, big, strong, physical guard, can make plays for other people, more like a Magic Johnson.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. I had a huge debate with somebody at the gym the other day about that. And I told him, I said, well, what we got to start doing, stop having that type of conversation. Let's have a different conversation for LeBron, because I look at him more as a Magic Johnson than a LeBron. I'm not LeBron, Michael Jordan archetype. Kobe Bryant. Yeah, Kobe Bryant. Now we want to have that debate. Kobe versus Michael. I feel like that's a better conversation because they're literally the same carbon copy of each other.
Right.
Magic is LeBron's a carbon copy of Magic. So I agree with you, but
I think it's like it's hard to compare apples to oranges.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like a lot of people will try to compare a point guard and a center. I mean, that's hard to make that comparison when they're talking to two totally different things, you know. So and they're both great players, but you know, if it was me, you know,
going with MJ, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, just kind of piggyback on what you're saying. Like for me, it's not just only, you know, saying, like I said, the scoring, the defense, the leadership, the killer instinct, but it's also just like the global impact that he's had on the game, you know, more than anybody else. Because I grew up just like you, just watching MJ, seeing him play, seeing other great players in the NBA too as well, Hall of Famers just like him. But I never seen nobody have the level of impact on the game that he had. Like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they were powerful and they were big names and they kind of carried the torch. But then when Michael came, like he just took it to a whole nother level. So to me, that kind of puts him in the front as being the GOAT too, because his off the floor, I mean, a lot of these guys is getting these endorsements, getting these contracts. If Michael Jordan never came, I don't know if we still have that same type of opportunity.
But one thing I would like to say as well is I think LeBron is a lot more involved politically.
Yes.
In the day-to-day world.
I
know Michael is a lot of great things in the community as well. Where times are different now than they were then, where he's allowed to do that and you know, step outside of that box and, you know, everything from schools to, you know, there's a lot of things that people give off the court, and there's a lot of things guys do that they don't want to be known. So
absolutely. They kind of do it in the dark per se.
Yeah, so it's just about giving back and using that round ball as a tool to help a lot of them.
Yeah, so and that's why I say I think both of them we can say about them that they do a great job with both of that. Like I said, they both have created opportunities. I mean, you look at LeBron's inner circle, he's created a great opportunity for them. He's created opportunity for other players as well as Michael. He's created opportunity for other players too, to be able to be in the place that they are, to where they're able to really showcase themselves and then, of course, control, their bank account when it comes to how they get paid and contracts and what teams and all that stuff that pay them. So, all right. So my next one, I want to throw your way. Let's talk about Jokic.
Okay.
So, Jokic just won a championship last year, dominated all playoffs and, of course, in the NBA Finals dominated.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you this question. Is he better than this player, Jokic edition? First player I got on the list, Charles Barkley.
Hey, that's another one. That's absolutely small. They're different players.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Barkley was a 6'5" animal.
Undersized power forward. Yep.
Do it all,
Yeah.
And Jokic is a big skilled, I don't know what to position.
What you call him, yeah.
You don't give him a position.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've always liked this game, but I think this year I have a buddy of mine that coaches with the Nuggets in the beginning of the season. He was like, man, we're going to win a championship.
Wow.
Yeah. Before the first game. I mean, they were actually coming here for their first game to play San Antonio. We went out to eat. Uh-huh. He's like, we're going to win the championship. I was like.
So he knew just off of how he came in from the offseason. He could just tell it was different.
Yeah. And then I was just like, and they actually lost that game to Spurs. And I told him about the game. I talked to him. I was like, man, y'all need to beat the Spurs. Y'all going to win the championship. But before that game, he was talking about Jokic. He said he's going to get MVP. And I was like, he's good. And he was like, watch him. When you're at this game, watch him. He's like, he brings the ball up more throughout the game than our point guard. Yeah. Jamal Murray, I would say, when Jokic out there on the floor, Jamal Murray, he kind of just played the off guard position. He don't really play, point guard because, Jokic comes up and orchestrates everything, kind of like how Draymond Green does for Golden State. Yeah. Brings the ball up, gets the ball moving, and then, of course, they end up working his way back to Jokic in his key spots on the floor to where he could be the most effective. And he knows how to use himself to the best ability. His size, his athleticism, his IQ. He knows where his strong points are, where his weak points are, and he's effective. Yeah, I think that's kind of hard once again to mix apples and oranges, but I mean that's a tough one. Okay, all right. Let me throw this next name at you, Dirk Nowitzki. Ooh, that's a close one. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Mm-hmm. That's a close one. Yeah, I feel like both of them, of course, being foreign players, but they both came in and like they're the type of player that we've never seen. Like I said, the way Dirk was 7 foot tall, be able to shoot the ball, the way he's able to footwork, and then like I say, both of them, being that kind of slower player, not having the speed, not having all the athleticism, but then like I say, no way to stop them from doing what they want to do on the floor. Yeah, because it's an IQ. If you know how to play and you can break down plays in your head to break down in defense or offense, and you go that much further ahead, So I think that just helps a lot for guys. That's why I always tell guys, be a student of the game, learn the game, be effective, watch the game as a student, not as a fan. Not as a fan, yep. Because that's a different lens to watch the game. When you as a fan, you're just like, oh man, I see the shots being made, I see the crossovers, I see the dunks, all that stuff. But like, are you watching how he created that opportunity, for himself, or created opportunity for that backdoor lob or that outlet pass or whatever it may be? Are you watching that part? Because if you're watching that part, you're really learning how the game is played and why the game's played like it is now, where it's like there is no position. You can't. I mean, you see on the starting lineup it says power forward, center, but you all know that them folks, they get on the floor, they're interchangeable. Absolutely. Like we just talked about, Jamal Murray play off ball more than he play actually on the ball, and he's more of a scoring guard than an actual point guard. So that's why I say that's what makes them work so well. That's why in the finals you got both of them getting triple doubles. Yep. Because they play hand in hand the same way, kind of, sort of. So what do you think about Jokic not getting the regular season MVP? Because I feel like because he didn't get the MVP, it kind of really motivated him even more to make that run he made in the playoffs and get the MVP finals. Yeah, you know how it is as an athlete, man. You take things, you get them chips, put them on your shoulder, and use that as fuel to push yourself more. So I think it just kind of made him a little more hungry when it came to the playoffs to kind of prove the world wrong on why he probably felt like he should have got that MVP.
Yeah, I was saying the whole time, like, man, Joel Embiid was playing great, but I just felt like Jokic, like I said, with his triple doubles and just how he affects the game all the way around, I just felt like he was more, more valuable to Denver, because you take him off Denver, what do they have? Right. Same way with Embiid, but I just felt like his impact was just so much better with Denver. And then, of course, the end game was he ended up winning the championship and then getting the MVP there. Oh, yeah. All right, so let's go to my next guy. Let's go to Giannis.
They're both they're different type. Giannis is more of a to the basket athleticism. Okay. He's a lot better defensively. Mm-hmm. But man, it's just
they both got the MVPs, both got rings. Personally, I went more Giannis than I did in this comparison. I picked I picked Giannis more in this comparison because have the passing, but the sheer dominance of what he does on, like I said, the offensive end, the pressure he puts on the defense, how it's hard for a lot of teams to even game plan for him because of, his ability to get to the basket, finish at the rim. But then on the defensive end, like I said, he's everywhere, cleaning glass, rebounding, pushing the ball on pick and roll. He's able to guard, smaller guards to the wing players, to pretty much everybody. Yeah, so he's able to do a lot on the floor,
which is tough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players that can do that. And that's our history. So he's a tough.
And at his size too. You talking about it, I honestly believe he's closer to 7 foot tall. I know they kind of got him listed like 6'9", 6'10", but I think he's a little bit taller than that.
He's about 11.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. 6'11", 7 foot tall is where he's at. But yeah, his ability to do that, that just lets you know, the greatness of his attributes that he has, on the floor. All right, so I got two more before I let you get out of here, man. Cause I brought these two, gonna be kind of a reach, but I just want to see what you think. First one is Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is scoring genius. I think for his size, offensively, yes. Defensively, he's okay. I think he brings a lot to the team. I think it's just hard. I think it depends. A lot of it depends on your personnel and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Kind of like as a GM, what type of player do you need on your team? Do you need a scorer? Do you need a person on your team that's going to not just score for itself, but be a playmaker for others? Sacrifice scoring on nights to make plays for other people? Or do you need a guy to come in and just be dominant offensively and get it done? Yeah. So a lot of that comes into play, more so with me just being involved with the sport on comparisons, because it depends on what you really need.
Absolutely.
Your team, or like a lot of players will say, well, who would you pick if you start in a team? Who'd be the first you pick? Yeah. That's where it kind of comes to, like, it depends on if it's that last piece to win the championship, what you need, or just straight on. Like, so, to circle back to that question, it just depends on what I got, who I need, I always I get these questions all day, and I can pick a player, but it depends. If I want an offensive team, I probably go with Durant. If I want a team that's going to win championships and go all around, I maybe go with a Jokic, because I know putting certain pieces with him, he could make other people better. Yeah. Durant might go for 40, but if he's going for 40 to win on the NBA level, you need 2 or 3 other guys to go for 20. Yeah. Or to compete with some of these teams. So it just kind of boils down to exactly, I think, what you need to fit that piece in your team.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because like you say, if you're looking for somebody that's going to be just sheer dominant on one side, when you're talking about being able to score from any spot on the floor, be the toughest matchup for the defender on the opposing team, then you want to go the KD route. I think with Phoenix this year, we're really going to see, now they got 3, elite offensive players. We're going to really see how they're going to, put that together, because that's going to be pretty tough when you're talking about a Bradley Beal. You're talking about KD. It's just Booker. It's just going to be, we're going to be very interesting to see how they're able to put that all together. Then if you're looking for somebody that's kind of well-rounded, that, hey, if his shot not falling, he's still going to be rebounding. He's still going to be protecting the glass. He's going to be, throwing out assists, talking on defense, orchestrating other ways on the floor that's making him still effective. And then he ends up at the end of the night still getting a triple-double, even with 10 points, 15 rebounds, 20 assists. So I agree with you on that. I think that one was a tough one for me too. I kind of leaning more towards Jokic just because of like me personally. If I'm building a team, I want somebody that's going to affect, both ends of the floor. All right, my last one I got for you in comparison to Jokic. Let's go Joel Embiid.
Same thing, but I think Jokic has a hard time with Embiid. Embiid's a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. Like again, it depends on my pieces, man.
And I said when I put this question, the guy said it's gonna stump you, stump me, it stumps a lot of people when I answer that question because, like I say, it really boils down. I think sometimes people, when they have these type of comparison conversations, they more just go like I said the fan side of it. Well, I just like the way
he does this.
The way he does this, or I like the way he looks, or he scores 50 points a game, so I like that. Versus, like you say, from the basketball lens of knowing the games, like, hey man, we got to really dive into like, okay, what am I needing him for? Because if I need him for this,
young guys,
exactly,
that are rookies, G League guys, 1-2 year guys in the league. You need guys that aren't just dominant, but guys that make other people feel comfortable and fit their role and be productive.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you have more of an older team with veterans, where you need someone to just be dominant, you look at something different. So I think it just depends on what your needs are. That's just how I see it, man. It's tough for me to see it any other way as a player. Yeah. And being in the front office and now being an agent, I mean, for me, it's tough to see it any other way because, it's the only way I can see it. I don't just see the 50 points or this many blocks or this many blocks.
It looks good on paper. Like you say, but what is your eye? I always tell people, what does your eye test tell you?
Yep.
Do you see that? Is he just scoring 50 and then that's it? Or is he scoring 50 and having 10 rebounds, having 10 assists or a couple steals, couple key blocks, or like I said, just putting people in the right spots when it comes to getting other folks open for shots or just defensively, getting your hand on loose balls and stuff like that. Excuse me. Yeah. So like you said, I'm the same way. I try to break it down like, okay, what am I really needing for my team? Just like if I'm in the gym doing pickup. Hey, I might know you, Marlon. Okay, you can score the ball every time, but I know on the other end, you're not going to play no defense. So I'm like, you can score every time, but you're going to be a liability on the other side. So it's just like, it just all depends on what you're really, truly needing at that time.
Right.
All right, man. So one more thing before I let you get out of here, man. I know you're a busy man. And once again, I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me. Do me a favor real quick. I got a question for you. Hold on, let me find it. Where is it at? Okay. Build a point guard for me. When I say build a point guard, you can pick anybody as for ball handling, anybody for shooting, finishing, and then of course defense. If you can build a point guard, what kind of point guard would you build?
Putting it all together. Ball handling. I maybe have to go with like AI, Pistol Pete.
Okay.
Around there.
Okay.
Vision. Magic.
Okay.
Defense. That's a tough. It'd be like a toss between Gary Payton and Joe Dumars.
Okay. Oh yeah. See, people forget about Joe Dumars. They forget about his how much of a dog he was on defense.
Finishing and just Kyrie, hands down. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a guard finish like that with either hand in traffic and some of the stuff he does. Athleticism. Man, I'd have to have a little OD Rose.
Okay.
Rose.
Yep, before the injuries. Yep.
Yeah, with a little John Morant and a little Steve Francis all in one.
Steve Francis, I like that one too. Yeah.
Super athletic.
Yeah. And under 6 feet too. Everybody, everybody swear he's 6 feet. I'm like, nah, just like AI. AI wasn't 6 feet, but I mean, stupid athletic. Yep.
So yeah, that'd be like some gumbo, some point.
Yeah. I like a lot of your picks. I mean, for me, when it come to ball handling, I went Kyrie. Yeah. Vision, I went Magic. Shooting, I went Steph Curry. Defense, the glove all day long. Had to go glove, and then finishing Kyrie too as well. Because like you say that, I mean, what he's able to do around the rim, his angles, right hand, left hand, footwork, how to even get to the shot, how to use his body. Whenever he's getting hit from somebody, I mean, and still be able to finish plays. I mean, that's the type of gumbo I will put together for myself. Yeah. So, man, Marlon, man, once again, man, I want to thank you for coming on with me and spending the time out. Because like I said, I know you're a busy man, and I really appreciate it. And I look forward to, all the things in the future we're going to do working together. So real quick before you get out of here, man, let people know where they can find you, on Facebook, on IG, if you have Twitter, let people know where they can find you.
I mean, my name is Marlon Minifee, Marlon Minifee. My business is Fourth Quarter Sports Group. You can find that on IG. You can find me on Facebook, Straight Buckets Apparel. You can find us on IG. Support the brand, support our players, support the next generation. And just excited to be here, and whatever knowledge, if people want to reach out to me, they can reach out to me as far as players, questions we can do to kind of help you, give you opportunities to go and give yourselves a platform to get to that next level. Okay,
man, Marlon, once again, man, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. And I'll catch up with you here soon, man.
Okay. Appreciate you, man. God bless you.
All right, now you too.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right. Peace.
All right, everybody. So that's going to wrap up this episode of Off the Bench today. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure you comment down below. Let us know what you thought about today's episode. And of course, we will do our very best on the next episode to implement, any of your comments. And then, of course, follow us on all of our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, which all of our social medias are always listed down below in the description. So until then, y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.